Hey everyone, weather forecaster Derrick Overland here, and we have our severe thunderstorm warning that's moving through the kind of the middle portion of our viewing area, stretching from Steele County, Dodge, Olmsted, getting a little portion of Freeborn County, and then into Mower County as well, where we do have this severe thunderstorm warning. And we'll take a zoom in and look at what this is warned for. So this is warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail possible. So again, this is for Dodge, Mower, Olmsted County until 11:30 tonight. So about a half hour left on this warning. And we'll take a look at some of that hail core here because this cell has been able to pulse a little bit and kind of grow in strength. Let's see what this hail is sitting at for our radar indicated ping pong size hail. That's radar indicated. That's not necessarily what's making it to the ground right now. But that's where we do have that possibility of some radar indicated ping pong size hail just around Blooming Prairie. So east of Blooming Prairie and then just north of Blooming Prairie along Minnesota 218 is where we have that hail core at, and that's likely going to ride along Minnesota 30 too, so towards the Hayfield area, Sargent, just north of Lansing. I think this is going to stay just south of Dodge Center unless we see this hail core kind of shift a little bit here. We'll take another look at this warning here as we have this moving through. So this is moving at 25 miles per hour. So we're going to have a little storm track on here and see where this is going to be moving. We'll go right here at the front of the storm and follow the polygon all the way down. We'll go all the way down to Preston. So here are some timings on when you can expect some thunderstorms in your area. So Austin 11:06, so that's in the next couple of minutes here. Stewartville 11:45, 11:56 for Marion, 12:42 for Preston, and then 12:51 for Lanesboro. So a rather slow moving storm for us here. But it is creating some pretty heavy rainfall. Let's also look at some of those rainfall rates too. So there could be some localized flooding in this because of that heavy rainfall that we're seeing. And you can see it there with all those pink colors here, right around Blooming Prairie, just around Somerset and Blooming Prairie, just west of Hayfield. Let's see, that's almost 2 inches an hour is falling in that rain. So that's some heavy rainfall. There's also some gusty winds in this too. So that's also going to be a concern in this are those wind gusts. As wind gusts will kind of pick up a little bit here. So let's see kind of what those wind gusts. I see Blooming Prairie. There's a little bit of pink in there. And looking at 68 mile per hour, so possibly 68 mile per hour winds in this. So that will be a concern there, is that wind gust, as we could have some of that kind of pick up there. So that is warned for 60 mile per hour winds. So that is definitely possible in this here. So we'll take another look at this warning once again. So 60 mile per hour winds that we just looked at. And then there's that 1-inch size hail that is also possible. And again, warned until 11:30 p.m. So I got about a little under a half hour left on this thunderstorm. Now we'll take a look at some other storms that are not necessarily severe warned, but are rather strong. I believe we used to have a little bit of hail core. So this is really our only storm right now that we're super concerned about as severe wise, because to have severe criteria, you need to have at least a little bit of hail. And of course we have that in ours. We used to have a little bit of hail down to our west, just around Buffalo Center area is where we had a little bit of some of that smaller pea to dime, maybe even penny size hail in there. That's pretty much gone away. We just have this larger hail core now stretching, looking to be just east of Blooming Prairie. So Hayfield, you'll be seeing a hail core fairly soon here as this continues to track out Waltham. Sargent, you'll see this hail core eventually here, and again, seeing a little bit of green here. Let's take a look. I think that's still going to be ping pong. Yes, ping pong sized hail there. We'll also, how about we get a track on Let's get a track on this hail core. We'll go to a polygon here. So yeah, Waltham at 11:16 and then 11:26 for Sargent. That's the time frame there for that. I do think Hayfield could see some of this hail too. So that will be something to look at here if you're in the Hayfield Waltham area. Kind of try and get those cars inside quick. I know it's probably raining pretty hard. Well, yeah, it's starting. It must be just starting to rain pretty hard towards the Hayfield and Waltham area. So where you see this purple coloring here in the radar, where we have all this red, this darker color purple, that's where the hail core is likely to be at. It kind of shows the higher resolution, putting back sound back to the radar, and that's showing the kind of the thicker things in the atmosphere with the hail core. And then we can see that too on correlation coefficient. So in our CCs, this shows consistency in the atmosphere, and so all of this red, all this dark red, that's rain. That's just rainfall. And then where we see kind of this lighter color here is where that hail core is exactly at. And so there is some hail making it, and it is getting found in our radar with correlation coefficient. So there is hail dropping from this storm. So just be on the lookout. You can kind of see it kind of moving. It was more centered around the highway, and now is stretching down here. So looking to see this kind of continue to move in this southeast fashion. So about right there where that arrow is. So eventually get to the Dexter area. We'll start to see some hail possibly there if this storm's able to last that long. But that's what we're looking for so far. Just this one severe thunderstorm warning. I'll zoom out and put it in motion once again. Other severe thunderstorm warnings off to our west. We just have this one kind of in the middle of our viewing area here in between Steele, Freeborn, Mower, Dodge, and Olmsted County, where we do have it, kind of that larger hail core. And again, severe thunderstorm watch. We do still have that severe thunderstorm watch until midnight tonight for the counties in that pink color. So we could still have some thunderstorm. I think once these thunderstorms pass through later on tonight, we'll be pretty much done with these thunderstorms. But we'll take a look at Future Track now. And if you watch the 10 o'clock show tonight, I mentioned how Future Track has been having some issues kind of timing this out. So if you notice, where it has rain off to our north. So this is like Rice County, north of Steele County. We're obviously not seeing that. Obviously these storms are where my arrow's at, towards Dodge County and Mower County into Steele County. So we're maybe an hour behind what Future Track is saying. But it does still do a decent job of giving you an image of what we can see. So we're just maybe an hour behind on Future Track, but it gives you an idea, and we'll have those showers and thunderstorms last pretty much throughout the night, and then by around 5 o'clock in the morning, we'll be pretty much done. 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, completely out of the area, and then we're looking to have another pretty warm day for our Monday, and then we have another chance for some strong weather once again. So a level 2 out of 5 risk for our entire viewing area, as we could have some thunderstorms move in the evening hours is what it's looking to be for now. Again, a level 2 out of 5 risk there. Thinking gusty winds is definitely going to be gusty winds, heavy rainfall, possibly some hail in there are going to be the threats that I'm really thinking about here for our tomorrow's outlook with this severe storm outlook. Along with the severe storms in the evening, before that, we're looking to be pretty hot and humid coming up. So heat advisory for almost all of the viewing area. The only ones who are not in that is Goodhue and Wabasha County. That goes noon on Monday, so noon tomorrow until 9 p.m. tomorrow. So another hot and humid day in store for us. We could have heat index values between 95, maybe even 105 in a few places. So looking to be very humid once again, and that's going to help fuel those storm possibilities for tomorrow evening too. So we'll take another look at our radar, see any updates have come along as we have these line of thunderstorms moving, stretching all the way from around I-35 and moving in that southeast fashion that I've been mentioning. We'll take another look at that hail core, and there's some good news that we want to see. That is a lot weaker in the hail core there as it's moving in towards the hayfield area. Now we'll wait and see a couple scans. Not necessarily out of it, not done with it yet. It might just be pulsing a little bit where it goes down, strengthens again, goes back down, strengthens again. So that will be a concern. So penny-sized hail right now is the largest that we're seeing out of this thunderstorm. Looks like we got another little hail core just east of the Glenville area. I'm assuming that's going to be dime-sized hail. Just east of Glenville, heading towards the Myrtle area. So some small hail. Like I mentioned before, it's these small hail that's the big concern. The big concern is the wind. Hail is kind of a smaller concern, but we're looking for mostly small hail out of this. So we'll continue to watch this thunderstorm that's severe warned. And then we do have our other severe thunderstorm warning that's to our west. That one's mostly moving south though, so that's towards like Spencer, Iowa, along Highway 18. That's moving more south, so I don't think we'll be we're not too concerned about that. We'll just be kind of watching. It seems like what comes from Freeborn County, kind of Steele and Freeborn County, as that tracks southeast, it gets a little bit stronger as we still have a little bit of instability there. And you can see just a little bit of hail again, kind of splitting around there, around Glenville on Highway 65. So some small hail there, and there's the pulse. So we saw that weekend. I said it might be pulsing. We'll wait for another scan. That's why we wait for another scan, because our hail core, once again, has strengthened again. And we're looking at quarter-size hail right next to Waltham. So looking to be just south of Hayfield. So Hayfield, you might just miss out on some hail here. Maybe some smaller hail get clipped just a little bit on that edge there. But Waltham, likely going to see some hail here fairly soon. Sargent, you might get clipped by that. And then it'll eventually move in towards the Dexter area, possibly clipping a little bit of Brownsdale in Mower County. So that is how we're looking so far. We'll take a zoom out quick, and it looks like they just updated the severe thunderstorm warning and cut it off. So Freeborn County, Steele County are no longer in the severe thunderstorm warning anymore. Pretty much should be mostly in the clear here tonight, as we have, it's just this initial line that's giving us the issues here, where we have those higher winds, it kind of bowing out a little bit and giving us those higher winds, and then we have a little bit of updraft, just enough to get some of that larger hail, that quarter-size hail, and that's why we're seeing this severe thunderstorm warned storm. So the National Weather Service, reading what the National Weather Service has here, they have 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts are occurring with the gust front ahead of the thunderstorm. So looking at Brownsdale and Waltham, where you probably saw some higher wind speeds a little bit earlier before these storms come in. So you may not have even been seeing rainfall, but you had some pretty strong wind gusts. So the National Weather Service showing that. Let's see if you guys are seeing rain. You probably are seeing rain now. Yeah. You're seeing some heavy rain. Looks like that hail core is possibly over you now. The hail cores take a little bit longer to update for those scans, but again, moving in towards the Waltham area, quarter-sized hail for at least radar indicated quarter-sized hail. All right, let's take take another zoom out and look at this storm. Does look like it is weakening a little bit from my eyes, so that is some good news there. We still have that strong hail core though, so that is still going to be a concern here, but it does show signs maybe of some weakening a little bit. Let's take a look at this warning once again, just so if you're just tuning in, you can kind of get an idea of what we're seeing here. So Dodge, Mower, Olmsted County, severe thunderstorm warning until 11:30 tonight. So you got about 15 minutes left, 16 minutes left on this warning. And this warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch size hail, so about quarter size hail in this storm. And we were just talking about that just a little bit ago. They're having some quarter-sized hail moving in towards the Waltham area just a little bit ago. So I'm going to take a look. So, reading some of the comments here, reporting a lot of thunder, starting to rain. We are starting to see that in Rochester. I can hear it in the studio or outside the building. I can hear some of that thunder start to rumble. So we are starting to going to see some of that rain here coming up. Pretty much all of us will be seeing some rainfall tonight. Hail core still looking rather strong. We'll wait a couple more scans here to see what this hail core wants to do. But that's basically the main threat with this. It'll be gusty winds, heavy rainfall. But with this storm in particular, it's just that hail that pulsed up, and we got some of that large hail in there. And so that allowed a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. But there are gusty winds. There is a very heavy rainfall in this, possibly even some localized flooding. We don't have any flash flood warnings or flood watches or anything like that, but some localized ponding, flooding, standing water in roadways and areas that are not too good at drainage. If there's any lower areas that just aren't very good at draining away water, might see some flooding in there for a little while. But let's take a look. Noticing this thunderstorm just west of Myrtle, east of Glenville. So I'm around Highway 63. Again, smaller hail, dime-sized hail moving in towards the Myrtle area. Not severe warned, but there is some heavy rainfall in that. We'll get a loop of this here and zoom out quick so you can see. Does look like the storm is starting to die out. That is, you can read that by the lightning strikes. So as this loops down, the more lightning strikes they have, the stronger the storm. Well, it's lowering, the lightning strikes are starting to go down. It's usually a sign that it is starting to weaken a little bit. So that is some good news. How about, let's zoom in on this storm, and let's do a storm slice. All right. See if I can change that camera a little bit. Nope, not gonna work. Okay. Well, you can see that there are some higher thunderstorms in this, so that's where that hail core is going to be. So right along here we have, oh, it's not gonna let me draw. Right along here we have some of these higher tops. So it's getting above 60,000 feet in the air. And where we have these higher tops is where we're gonna have some of those hail cores. I'm gonna let's try and slice that again, just so you can get a better angle of that. That wasn't the greatest slice. Let's go right through the middle there. There we go. Right along there, where you kind of have that darker, that could be a little bit of a hail core there, but this thunderstorm not getting super tall, at least from this angle. We just saw earlier that it was up to around 60,000 feet. So there are some spots where it is up to that 60,000 feet mark. But this part of the storm, a little bit smaller there. And we do have that little bit of some rise in that storm. So we'll go back. Let's take a look at that hail core. I think that hail core's really started to go down, and it has. Just takes a couple of scans. Again, we'll continue to watch these scans here because it's been pulsing. It's been going down, up, and dime-size hail right now. So that's with our last radar scan is dime-size hail. And again, this is mostly in northern Mower County. We'll see if I don't think we'll be getting any hail towards Dodge Center or Rochester. Stewartville, it might clip you. I think it's going to mostly stay to your south. Dexter would be the next place outside of this polygon, the severe thunderstorm box there, where we will have that next potential where we do see some hail if it lasts that long, as we're seeing this pulse. And those lightning strikes have gone down a lot. So that is some really good news that we want to hear. So you can see all those lightning strikes when it's like around Owatonna, has all those lightning strikes. It kind of strengthens, pulses up, gets severe warned, and then now starting to die out a little bit. So we'll kind of watch this here. Let's see, we got about 10 minutes left on the warning. And I'm not seeing anything else in National Weather Service where we contact the National Weather Service where they're looking to issue another warning after this one. So to continue it downstream for like eastern Mower County and Preston, the Fillmore County area. It doesn't look like, at least for now, they're not thinking about warning this downstream. So it looks like this might be it. It is also starting to outrun the warning box a little bit. Usually that's kind of a sign that that's going to get let expire here in the next couple, let's see, 10 minutes. It's 11:20. So the next 10 minutes we'll see this thunderstorm either continue on or let expire. And I've got a feeling that they're going to let this one expire, unless the wind speeds. We'll take another look at wind speeds. And kind of where those highest wind speeds are. So let's see if I can get this. Sure, just 6, yeah. So not super high wind speeds anymore. So there's some good news there. Thunderstorms are looking like they are starting to kind of give way a little bit, starting to die out a little bit here. But again, we'll continue to watch it here as we go into the nighttime hours, as this thunderstorm has the history of pulsing up, and they just warned it downstream after I just talked about it. So looks like they're going to add this thunderstorm that was showing some hail. So it does have a little bit of hail south of Myrtle. So pea-size hail there. Let's see. Look at chat here and see what they warned this for. So 60-mile-per-hour winds once again. So now it's 60-mile-per-hour winds, less than an inch. So we're looking at 3/4 inch size hail. So smaller hail. It's just those gusty winds that the National Weather Service is warning this thunderstorm for. Let's take a look at this warning. Oh, there we go. All right, so Fillmore, Howard, Mitchell, and Mower counties. This one's until after midnight at 12:15 tonight. Again, as I just mentioned before, 60-mile-per-hour winds and less than 3/4 of an inch of size hail. So some smaller hail, just really windy and raining fairly hard in this thunderstorm. So we'll take another look at that hail core. That's been the big thing with these thunderstorms, these severe warned thunderstorms, is that hail core. Let's see. So this one's next to Myrtle in Freeborn County, getting in towards the Lisle area, and then both pea-size hail. So both fairly small size hail. It's really going to be that wind and heavy rain in this thunderstorm. Now let's see if any wind gusts are getting picked up in front of this storm. I'd like to see. Let me see if I can hit the question mark here. It'll tell me. Oh, guess not. Used to have numbers on here, but I guess not. So, looking to be around 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in this severe thunderstorm warning. And you can really see that off to our west. So Albert Lee probably seeing some pretty strong wind gusts all the way down farther southwest into northern Iowa. We're seeing some of those higher wind gusts there. Looks like we got another severe thunderstorm warning. So they warned this entire thunderstorm now. Let's take a look at this thunderstorm now in Iowa. So this is for Hancock, Humboldt, Kossuth, and Wright counties. This one's also until 12:15, so after midnight. 60 mile per hour winds and less than 3/4 of an inch size hail. So hail, not too much of a concern anymore, at least for now. We've seen these storms kind of pulse up and down, especially that one in Minnesota that's going through Mower County. So we'll be watching the hail core for that one, but small hail, it's just going to get really windy and it's going to rain pretty hard coming up in these counties. So let me take a look. Okay. So some gusty winds in there. So looking at, I believe that's Mason Cities. Let me look this up really quick. Yeah, Mason City Airport reported in at 71 mile per hour gusts. So some really windy conditions happening there towards Mason City where this thunderstorm is starting to bow out. And you can kind of see that in the warnings here. You can see it start to bow out. And especially here in this warning, we're going to have some really high winds in there where we did have that, the Mason City Airport did clock in those 71 mile per hour gusts. So very windy in these thunderstorms, especially for northern Iowa. If you're around I-35, we have these other thunderstorms that are moving in. They're kind of starting to break apart a little bit. Hail core maybe growing a little bit in that one towards Freeborn County. No, it's just the borders that look like it's getting darker. So right on the border there of the Iowa-Minnesota border, dime-size hail in that. So small hail. Looking at small hail again, looks like it just passed over Sargent. Let's see what kind of hail we're dealing with there. Pea-size hail, so some, again, very small hail than dime-size hail, a little bit farther north towards the Sargent area. So smaller hail. Smaller hail now in these thunderstorms, but definitely dealing with some gusty winds and that heavy rainfall. So again, flooding, some localized flooding is going to be a bit of a concern here for areas where you are seeing the heavier rainfall. So of course, looks like Rochester is really just missing out on the thunderstorm. So yeah, looking to be just clipping Stewartville, where we're seeing that heaviest of rainfall. Don't worry, there's more rain on the way, it just won't be severe. So if you were looking forward to some rainfall tonight, you won't be disappointed, but just won't be severe. So that's good news there. So these severe thunderstorm warnings, as these continue to bow out to the Mason City area, seeing some really gusty winds right now with that these storms moving through. We have the other storm that's moving into just south of I-90 towards southern Mower County, western Fillmore County, and then getting into the northern Iowa area. So we'll continue. We're just going to continue to watch these storms throughout the night. I'm sure the National Weather Service will take a look at La Crosse and see if they're probably going to update that warning to take Dodge out of it. Because Dodge County is pretty much done. You're just seeing some heavy rainfall, maybe a little bit windy. Wow, that hail core really went down. The hail cores pretty much stayed the same near Freeborn County. And then basically no hail in the severe thunderstorm warning that's in northern Iowa towards Mason City and then west of I-35. So mainly just really gusty winds coming up. So here's another look at these storms moving through. You can kind of see it start to weaken just a little bit towards as it's moving southeast. So just weakening a little bit there, but still packing a punch. It's weakening as a storm altogether, but it is packing a punch with that heavy rainfall. It looks like we did get another severe thunderstorm warning. They're issuing this one for Floyd County. This one for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So let's look. So Floyd County is right down here. Kind of Charles City just kind of missing out on this warning. You'll probably get warned later on tonight. Let's hit this. Again, don't think hail is too much. Yeah, just those couple hail cores, still a small hail. It's mainly just that wind. So let's see, 70 mile per hour wind gusts for this severe thunderstorm warning, and the wind threat was observed at Mason City Airport. So they're just next in line to see those really high winds in Floyd County. Let's take a zoom out. Let's zoom out and look at this entire storm really quick. Let's look at surface map too. So this is the entire storm moving through. Let me get rid of surface map. That's getting in my way. So severe thunderstorm warnings for South Dakota, stretching all the way from western Minnesota all the way to eastern Minnesota here, and then stretching down into northern Iowa, where we kind of see these thunderstorms starting to bow out on this a little bit of a trough here. Let's look at this. Let me get surface map back up there. It was showing high pressure systems. I didn't want that, but this trough right here is causing these storms along with this boundary. So they're kind of working together here to give us these storms. And that's also why it's bowing out, is because that trough is starting to bow out too. It's pushing south because of the front, and I moved the wrong way. Do it this way. All right, so severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. Let's take a look at all of the warnings. It's going to take the radar away, but we can get an idea of all of these warnings. So severe thunderstorm warning for Mitchell, Mower, Floyd, Hancock, and Kossuth counties. All of them are until after midnight at 12:15, and therefore some higher winds. So the ones in Iowa, the Mason City, the Hancock, Kossuth, and Floyd ones are warned for 70 mile per hour winds, and then the one in Minnesota, so Mitchell and Mower counties, is warned for 60 mile per hour winds. So still watching these thunderstorms move on through. Again, looking like they're starting to weaken. Some good news there. We lost that daytime heating. Western Minnesota got hit pretty hard by some thunderstorms. There were a couple confirmed tornadoes in, I believe, South Dakota earlier today when these storms first started to develop. But that was when we had prime daytime. They had prime daytime heating. Instability was pretty high. when you have that daytime heating, that front moves through and it gives that lift and sparks those thunderstorms, and they got strong very quickly. In our case, we're seeing kind of the leftovers of what they saw. And so the storms actively weakening as they move through, but they are packing a punch still as they are bowing out. They're organized because they have those really high winds. They did have a little bit of updraft, but now that updraft is pretty much gone. It's been a couple scans now. Let's take a look at that hail core once again. Hail core in Mower County is pretty much gone. We just have the one just getting out of Freeborn County now, moving in towards Lyle, St. Ansgar, Stacyville maybe, if it makes it that long. It's been kind of sitting there for a while. Looks like we got maybe another little hail core just south of Manly, north of Mason City. Small hail. But that's something to monitor here because that gives us kind of an idea of the strength of these storms. So again, here's what we're dealing with, these thunderstorms moving through the area, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings across Minnesota and northern Iowa as they continue to move on through, just dealing with some really gusty winds in this. So around northern Iowa, Mason City, Floyd County towards Charles City, starting to see 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts being reported at Mason City Airport. And then we have some little bit weaker storms, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the Minnesota one in Mower County and Fillmore County, but still packing a punch there. They're still those severe warned thunderstorms. So if you're just tuning in, let's take another look at future track here just to give an idea of what we can expect for tonight. As I mentioned before, future track kind of struggling, doing a little bit better now, but struggling still. We'll see these thunderstorms kind of move on through, giving us that heavy rainfall, gusty winds. Around 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, they'll be pretty much completely gone. And then we're looking at another hot and humid day for our Monday. Temperatures back into those mid-80s. We'll have dew points, mid-70s, upper 70s, maybe even some low 80s in there. So looking to be another hot and humid day tomorrow. And then that's going to help fuel some storms later on for tomorrow evening. So let's talk about that now. Here's our severe storm outlook, level 2 out of 5 risk across the area. We're still technically a day away, so we'll get updates to this later on tomorrow morning, and pretty much throughout the day, the Storm Prediction Center can will update this. So we'll continue to be giving out updates, but tomorrow is definitely going to be a day to watch for again. Same as today, as we did have the severe threat. But tomorrow will be also a day where we could have some severe weather towards the evening hours. So looking at radar once again, we're starting to see these thunderstorms move in towards the northern Iowa, towards the Minnesota border there, and towards Mower County and Fillmore County. Starting to see that move in towards the border, while the Mason City thunderstorm is starting to move kind of into Mason City. Is going to be moving out here fairly shortly. But plenty of rainfall behind this thunderstorm. You can see lots of greens and yellows, even some thunder towards Wabasha County and Goodhue County towards Red Wing. But notice it kind of just split around Rochester. So Rochester, not expecting to see really anything super strong tonight, but we'll have some rainfall really throughout the night though. So we'll have some good rain, but we won't have, I really don't think we'll have that severe threat for tonight for us, as most of the severe weather stayed right around I-35 and to the west of I-35. So, looking around here, just seeing these thunderstorms move on through. Not too much for updates from the National Weather Service right now. So, just the 70-mile-per-hour winds that were reported, gusts in Mason City. There were reports of, this is just out of our viewing area, so Faribault County. So right in here, where there are reports of trees down in Faribault County. So it's this county here, this box. They had the same thunderstorm that is actively moving through Mason City. So that's where those wind gusts have come from. So now let's get a track. Say we should get a track on these thunderstorms. So how fast are these moving? So you're moving at 30 miles per hour. This one's also moving at, this one's moving at 40 miles per hour. So we'll get a couple different tracks here. I just want to make sure because that one was bowling out, so it makes them go just a little bit faster. So this one is going this way. So we got Osage 11:51, Charles City 12:22, Cresco at 12:46, and then Decorah at 1:25. And then let's get another tracker on this. This one's going 40 miles per hour. And this one's for the Mason City one, stretching all the way down. Let's move this here a little bit. So Belmont, 11:45, midnight at Humboldt, 12:11 at Hampton, 12:28 at Allison, and then Webster City at 12:41 is when these thunderstorms are likely to move through. So that's how we're looking at timing-wise. We do have these couple of severe thunderstorm warnings still ongoing. Warn for the gusty winds that they're having. Let's take another look at the hail core, and that hail core is barely moving. That is staying right around the border, Minnesota and Iowa border, right around Lyle on Highway 218 or County Road 218. Dealing with penny-size hail, at least radar indicated. We don't have that confirmed. That's about it hail-wise. We saw a little bit pulsing towards the Mason City area, not really seeing that now. So that's good. Just heavy rainfall, gusty winds, a good amount of lightning in this, so thunder and lightning. And then, again, we'll have that heavy rainfall that could give us some potential localized flooding in a few areas, especially if in areas that just have really bad drainage. Will be hard to get rid of some of those, of that excess water. National Weather Service just came out and said a 64-mile-per-hour gust recorded at a station near Lyle. So that's where we were just looking, where that hail core is near. So let's take a look at Lyle. And that's right where that hail core is at. So Lyle, right in here. And dealing with some gusty winds. Looks like you're getting towards the back end of the heavy rain, though. So that wind will hopefully start to lighten up here fairly soon, the next 15-20 minutes. Let me take a look. I haven't looked at the comments section here. I haven't done a good job at that. All right. A lot asking about Rochester. I think I kind of mentioned that, but I'll mention it again. Rochester, looking to be kind of split around Rochester. We had some thunderstorms to the north. They kind of died out, split around. The ones to the south stayed strong. We'll still get some rainfall. There's still a little bit of lightning. You can see a lightning strike there just around between Stewartville and Rochester. But we're still looking to get some rainfall. Still plenty of rainfall in this. The severe weather mostly going to stay to the south, though. So still going to see some rain, maybe some thunderstorms in there, but the severe weather looking to stay to our south and to our west now for Rochester. Very nasty winds came through Glenville about 50 minutes ago. Broken tree branches. Okay, thank you for that report. We will... So about 50 minutes ago, I can actually play this back. So Glenville is right here, just southeast of Albert Lee. You can see that storm, it really started to bow out around Freeborn County, and that's where those wind gusts really started to pick up. And I can imagine that you saw some pretty high wind speeds there, branches down in the Glenville area. Let's see. Getting windy in Leroy. Yeah, you're right on the edge of these thunderstorms beginning to move in. But here's where it'll get real windy and then some rainfall starting to move in. We'll see that here fairly shortly. Let's see, 30 miles per hour. Get a little track on where the rain will get heavy. And Leroy in the next couple of minutes here. I think I messed that up a little bit here. Let me try that again. So yeah, Leroy, roughly around midnight. So I think that could come maybe a little bit sooner, but with how close it is. But you'll be seeing some heavy rainfall here fairly soon. Pretty nasty wind and rain in Dexter at the moment. We'll take a look at Dexter, I think. Yeah, you're seeing some of this heavy rainfall here. Starting to get towards the back end. You'll be done here fairly soon. Grand Meadow, seeing some heavy rainfall. Ostrander, Spring Valley will get clipped a little bit there. Stewartville starting to see some heavier rainfall. It's getting a little purple again. Let's see that hail core. There, it's pulsing again. Right around Stacyville. So just south of Lyle again. This hail core has been moving very slow. Penny-sized hail at the largest there, right around County Road 218 between Stacyville and Lyle. We're seeing some rainfall. Asked about Plainview. So Plainview, I think you'll be seeing some rainfall. The severe threat is extremely low. Let's take a look at that. So Plainview, seeing some rainfall. Maybe a couple rumbles of thunder. There'll be more rain kind of behind it that will move in. But I think our severe threat is mostly going to stay around and just slightly east of I-35, so around Mower County, getting in towards Iowa. We got Cherry Grove. So Cherry Grove, again, let me do some looking at some more comments here. So Cherry Grove, yes, you are also in... Oh. See if my phone will work. I want to get another look at this severe thunderstorm warning and what it's warned for. So I want to just make sure they're not updating that, because we are getting reports of wind in Cerro Gordo County. So in Nora Springs, estimated wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles per hour. But let me look at Cherry Grove really quick. We had a question about that. See if I can pick you up on the map. Should be heading to about the right spot, maybe a little bit too. Oh, looks like Cherry Grove isn't going to show up. Well, you're right around Ostrander, just off to, so roughly, I'm just estimating here, because our map's not showing up. Cherry Grove is about right there. So you'll see some thunderstorms here fairly soon, some heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds in there. You are in this severe thunderstorm warning, so just keep that in mind. take another look at some comment section. So we asked, so let's look at tomorrow's forecast. Around 4 to 8 p.m., winds around 60 miles per hour too. So we could have some gusty winds. Exactly how high those winds could get are not reliable right now on models. But we could have some pretty gusty winds with that threat. We'll take a look at our severe thunderstorm threat for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're looking at having some more strong thunderstorms. So level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. I think the majority, from what I've been looking at, the majority of the strong weather is going to happen in western Minnesota and eastern South Dakota. Now, that still doesn't mean we won't see anything. It still could be strong to severe. I think just the majority of it is, the worst of it is going to be in western Minnesota. It's going to be all come to do with timing for us. In southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa, I think it's going to come down to timing. Kind of like tonight, where we had a lot of that daytime heating leave the area, and severe thunderstorm warnings did happen. We still do have those severe thunderstorm warnings, but they weren't as strong as they could have been, like they were in west central Minnesota. It's going to come down to timing once again. So if the storms come late in the night, like tonight, they might not be as strong as they could be, whereas if they come towards the evening hours between, let's say 6 and 9 o'clock in the evening, it could be a little bit on that, they could be on that strong side. So I think it will come down to timing for us. We'll have more updates tomorrow. There'll be more updates, more data that we'll have, and we'll be able to kind of get a better reading of that. But tomorrow, looking to be like we have the chance for some more strong to severe weather. Winds getting wild in Mitchell and Osage. Yes, you are starting to see that straight line wind start to move in. So right around here, getting into those really windy conditions. Been a couple scans. I don't see a hail core anymore, from radar anyway. Let's look. There is. There is a hail core in this reading, though. Sometimes they can be a little bit hidden in there. Still not moving a lot. I think this was almost in the same spot as it was last time. So a very slow-moving hail core. Nickel-size hail moving in just north of Stacyville. Stacyville, Johnsburg, start to see some hail there. At least radar indicated hail. Again, this isn't not confirmed on the ground, but this is what our radar is picking up. Tree in her front yard go down in Osage, Iowa. We just did also get a report from Cerro Gordo County that the winds are continuing to gust between 45 and 50 miles per hour in Nora Springs. So, "66-mile-per-hour winds in Mason City." Porta potties rolling down down South Federal. That's not good. But yeah, some really high winds in that. Hopefully that starts to kind of lighten up a little bit, as we start to see kind of this initial bowing structure start to move out of the area. So the National Weather Service did update that severe warning. Might be a little bit late on that, but for me being a little bit late on that. But Dodge County is no longer in that severe thunderstorm warning. Neither is Olmsted County. So Olmsted County, not going to see any severe weather really, I don't think, tonight. We're looking at just some rainfall, and then everybody to the east of us, so Winona, Wabasha, even Goodhue County, I think we're pretty much in the clear. Freeborn County, we'll see, kind of watching this storm here kind of stretch down, so we'll see what that does. Again, I think these storms are starting to weaken as they continue to move on through, as we lost our instability. But we'll just continue to monitor things. It's going to be a late night tonight, so this won't be the first time I've had to stay up super late for some storms. We've had some really late storms recently. Been like beyond midnight. So it's kind of bad luck with that timing there. Getting that limited sleep. Lightning has gone down a lot in the storms that are affecting us. Western Minnesota is still seeing some pretty strong thunderstorms, even into eastern South Dakota. So still will be kind of watching those as they move through. All right, what's the timing impacts looking like for Decorah farther east? We'll take a look at that. So you're likely going to be impacted by the thunderstorms that are moving just slightly slower, moving in towards the Osage area. And again, these thunderstorms are showing signs of weakening just a little bit here, but they do have some of those higher wind speeds. So let's get Decorah on here. And Decorah, 1:20 in the morning. So it'll be a little bit before they get there. Might come a little bit sooner. I think it's a little bit slow. Maybe 1:15, 1:10 is when they get there, but it'll be late into the night. Looking to be heavy rainfall and gusty winds. I think most of the hail will be pretty much done by the time it gets to Decorah. I hope so, because this has been continuing to pulse. Again, this hail core is not moving whatsoever. This is a really long-lasting hail core. Stacyville just getting some of that small hail there. But that's also why, so that hail core is not really moving a whole lot. Let's look at, let's get the looping a little bit. And it's because it's expanding out. You can see that's where we'll have that localized flooding possibility, is where that's expanding out and it just kind of lingers on and just continues to give you some really heavy rainfall. Just got very strong winds in Leroy. No rain yet. Likely be getting some rain here fairly soon though, at least radar-wise. Get some rainfall in the next couple of minutes. That'll likely be windy through it. Kind of starting to split apart a little bit over there too. Kind of weakening. This little ball, this little cell is weakening a little bit. And this one's kind of taking in that hail core. Let's take another look at that hail core. Pulsing once again, starting to weaken. We'll probably see this pulse back up and strengthen again. Not moving a whole lot either. That's right over Stacyville. Stacyville possibly seeing some at least radar indicated hail, penny size hail. Let's see. Is there another round coming towards us later tonight for Rochester? I think rainfall-wise we'll see another round, but severe-wise I don't think so. As in another round, it's just going to keep raining. So like we have this yellow and orange up here. I think we could have some showers, some thunderstorms in there, but shouldn't be on that strong or severe side. I think most of the strong to severe stuff will stay off to our south like what we're seeing now. So we'll see some rain, just not really strong to severe. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now. Typical Minnesota summer storms. Yeah, I've lived in Minnesota my whole life from Albert Lee, and so somewhat used to it. Since I'm from Albert Lee, we usually get the storms a little bit before Rochester and all the other areas, since we're on the farther west side. So usually these storms come a little bit earlier. Plus now, since I'm working here, I have to stay up late with these storms. You know, when I was a kid, I could just go to sleep through the storm. Now that's not really an option. So we will take another look. Looks like they may have updated the severe thunderstorm warning for the one in Fillmore County. I think they just cut the warning off of northwest Mower County. So that's what that is for. Let's see. Let's look again. If you're just tuning in, let's kind of repeat a little bit, recap. Thunderstorms moving through. Future track models have been really struggling tonight, and that's also why when you see these outlooks of showing radar and what future radar could look like, gotta be a little bit careful with it because I mean this is what Future Trek has right now, and it's not really correct whatsoever. So, but as it continues to move through, we'll see these thunderstorms. It does a better job. It's about an hour behind, I think. I think Future Trek's about an hour behind. And then does a good job of depicting what it will look like, though. It's just a little bit behind timing-wise. And then tomorrow, we're going to warm it right back up. We're going to have some warm temperatures once again, and the severe possibility once again. Later tomorrow evening, we'll have that severe chance. Let's see, is there anything bad going to hit Spring Valley? So you do have, you actually, since you're on that corner, you might not be in the severe thunderstorm warning. You might just miss out on this. So, I want to zoom in enough to where, oh, come on, move over. There it is. Wasn't moving. Okay, Spring Valley, seeing some rainfall. I think most of that heavy, the strongest stuff, I think just missed you. Just missed you to the south. So you'll see some heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds possibly happening right now. But then behind it, there's not much going on. So put that now, stop that from looping, and then you can see. So some heavy rainfall, looks like some heavier rainfall south of Spring Valley and then north of Ostrander. And then just kind of some moderate to heavy rainfall. And that's going to kind of continue on here. I think it continues on for most of the night because look at what's behind this. We have plenty of rainfall behind it with the yellows and oranges possibly getting into some heavier rain, maybe some moderate rainfall. You are in the severe thunderstorm warning. However, I think the majority of the strongest stuff is right in here. Wind and hard rain in Ostrander. Thank you for that report, Pam. Let's zoom in on Ostrander really quick. So just south of Spring Valley. And you can see, yeah, we do have that heavier rainfall, heavier band of rainfall moving through. This entire line of thunderstorms. So, I mean, stretching all the way from central Iowa. All of that is going to give some heavy, either heavy rainfall and some gusty winds is what we're looking at. So gusty winds is going to be our main threat tonight as we see it kind of bowing out. So that bowing motion, so let's get some arrows. So just looking at just like the red on the radar where we have the heaviest of rainfall, so just this red here kind of stretching all around, you can see that bowing down. It comes down and kind of bows out like a boomerang. And that's a sign of some really gusty winds. So that is a big reason why they got severe warned. So, and no problem, Skylar. It's no issue whatsoever. I mean, you are in the severe thunderstorm warning, but I think a lot of that, the worst stuff is just going to miss you. I think you're just going to get clipped just a little bit here, and you're probably seeing the worst of it right now, and then it'll get better from there. So, another big severe thunderstorm warning off to our west between Fairmont and Spencer. With that thunderstorm, I was watching that. I mentioned that before as we were talking about kind of Freeborn County and stuff. So kind of watch that too. That's kind of a second round that might impact areas south of I-90, I do think, if that stays strong. I think a lot of what we're seeing now, so these thunderstorms are going to help weaken these thunderstorms. So we'll just continue to monitor it. We'll continue to be here. So just a couple of those severe thunderstorm warnings now. Let's take a look at hail core once again. Hey, it's moved maybe a little bit now. Too small. There we go. It's now barely just east of Stacyville. It is moving extremely slow. dime size, radar indicated dime size hail, not confirmed on the ground. We haven't gotten, I guess I haven't checked our emails recently or the other comments, but I haven't seen any reports of hail being confirmed, at least in our area yet, but we do have that radar indication. Looks like La Crosse is going to, they're going to draw up another severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to stretch all the way down into possibly the Decorah area. We'll see how they draw this up. But they just said another severe thunderstorm warning is on the way downstream. So that would be this severe thunderstorm warning, and then downstream is this area. So we'll wait for that warning, and then I'll read off that warning, what it's warned for. I'm assuming it's going to be possibly 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then less than that 3/4-inch size hail like we've been seeing. Again, it's just that heavy rain, that batch of heavy rainfall, and then some of those gusty winds really giving us some impact there. So in the Decorah area, you might want to bring things inside that could blow away. You're not seeing any rain now. I know it's midnight. It's dark outside, but try and bring things that are inside, because these storms have shown that they are giving some pretty high wind speeds, so pretty high wind gusts. So we'll just wait a little bit. While we're waiting, why don't we show the 7-day forecast? In case you missed any of the shows today, we have a first alert day. Oh, it's past midnight. We don't have a first alert day for Tuesday. Forgot, it's past midnight, so then our graphics continue on. So let me get our well, let's see if I can find it. Oh, okay. Let me look it up really quick. So let me give you a right 7-day forecast. We do not have a first alert day on Tuesday. So let's see. All right, morning 7-day forecast there. Let me get the right one up here so it looks correct. I didn't look at the time. I forgot that our graphics do that little jump. So here, that's not correct either. Let me update it really quick. I'm having all kinds of issues. Okay. That should work. Wait for it to load. And there's your correct 7-day forecast for you here. So first alert day Monday, due to the high heat, we'll have some showers possible both Tuesday morning and possibly Wednesday morning. And then we'll have some really nice temperatures up ahead. I mean, we're looking at temperatures into the 70s. And so, yeah, that's going to be really nice. It's going to be really nice to have these temperatures in the 70s. I love the 70s. Low 80s, upper 70s. That's my type of weather. And mostly sunny skies both Thursday and Friday. Wednesday looking to be rainfall, mainly in the morning for now. There's a couple models that show maybe some rainfall kind of in the afternoon too, but looking to be right now where there's agreement is the morning. So pretty nice week up ahead after Monday and maybe even after Tuesday. We're looking at a pretty nice week. So there's that downstream severe thunderstorm warning. This does include Decorah. Okay, so they just, oh, I see what they did. All right. Well, I didn't think it was working. Okay, so Fillmore, Howard, Mitchell, and Mower County until 12:15. And then that's for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 3-inch quarter-size hail. And that can't be fully correct. Let me hit this button here. Must have just added it on. Here we go. Severe thunderstorm warning, Chickasaw, Howard County until 1 a.m. And there's the correct warning. I want to get this to zoom in just so it gives me the right warning. It's not going to. I don't know why it's not working. So, what? This is warned, the one in that is warned for Decorah does have warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So small hail, really gusty winds. So that's been the thing going on tonight. Is really gusty winds. Let me get that out of there so you can see this move on in. So you're still moving at 30 miles per hour, so roughly the same time. I did that one time frame. So here's that time frame for these thunderstorms. Charles City, 12:17, 12:35 in Cresco, 1:01 in Fredericksburg, Decorah, just after 1 a.m., and then walk off at 1:36. So we'll be seeing these thunderstorms. So yes, warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds and less than 3/4 inch sized hail in that warning. So this is this line now. So now more of a line like this is starting to bow out a little bit and giving some higher winds. And then this is moving this way. And then this one is moving down south. So they're kind of breaking apart here. So what it's kind of looking like. Couple different hail cores. Small hail though. Majority of these storms now are pretty much south of the Minnesota border now. So dime-size hail, radar indicated dime-size hail, probably dealing with about the same towards Floyd. Pea-size hail, so even smaller hail towards Floyd by Charles City. So yeah, most of these storms looking like they're getting south of the Minnesota border. So now northern Iowa pretty much is next to see these thunderstorms. Mason City, I think you're pretty much done. Osage is getting there. Looks like you're on the very tail end of the thunderstorm if you're not already past it. And then now starting to move into south of the Minnesota border, moving in towards Cresco. Getting out of Leroy now. Riceville is probably seeing some heavy rainfall. And then Decorah eventually, the Decorah area, start to see some heavy rain. So this is what we're dealing with tonight. We had these storms kind of, they showed weakening. Let's look back. Let's look back. We could do a whole, maybe 5 hours. Let's go even farther back. Let's go 6 hours. Let's go 6 hours back to where these storms first started out. So Watertown is the one that had the tornado warning in South Dakota. And they had a tornado go through. There were a bunch of storm chasers, spotters that were on that, and there's videos of that going around social media. But these storms started out fairly strong fairly quickly. I mean, this is 6 hours ago. I know Hutchinson, Wilmer, they had some pretty strong activity. And as they moved through, they grew. And then around 8 o'clock started to begin, we lost sunset, we lose that daytime heating, and then they start to kind of die out a little bit, but they stayed just strong enough to where they were strong thunderstorms. And then they started to bow out. They kind of got organized and started to bow out. And then that's why we have these severe thunderstorm warnings, is because they're bringing in some gusty winds. And you can see the National Weather Service in Des Moines continuing that severe thunderstorm warning into the Waterloo area too. So it'll be a long line of some thunderstorms as that continue to bow out and give us these strong thunderstorms. So again, this is what we're dealing with tonight. If you're waking up in Minnesota to maybe some thunder or some sounds of rain, maybe even some gusty winds a little bit, pretty much in the clear. You can see they just canceled that severe thunderstorm warning for Mason City. Pretty much done with severe weather here in Minnesota tonight. I'm watching this line in western Minnesota, but with what we had earlier with this, I think that's going to take away a lot of any type of energy, storm energy that we had in the atmosphere. That's going to take a lot of it away and is going to really weaken those storms as they pass Mankato. But a few thunderstorms may be possible. More rainfall impacting the Red Wing area of Goodhue County, moving in towards Wabasha County. Could be some more rainfall, moderate to heavy rainfall in the Rochester area here fairly soon. We can see some of that in Steele and Dodge County. The main wind threat is down now in northern Iowa. Getting towards, let's see, we got Alma. Riceville is getting some heavy rain. Osage is just getting in towards the back end of the worst part, so you'll be pretty much done here soon. Charles City, anybody in Charles City right now, probably seeing some heavy rainfall there. We'll see if there's a hail core in that. Still a little bit of a hail core just southwest of Floyd. Small hail, looking probably pea-size hail. Again, mainly heavy rain, gusty winds in these thunderstorms. Did anybody lights just surge in northwest Rochester? Happened 3 times in our house tonight. So possibly those gusty winds. I know when I was looking back at our wind gusts, our observed wind gusts, it's a little bit behind. I think it's a little bit behind. But this wind, you can see that pink. It doesn't have the actual number on it. I can't get that to show up. But this was here in Rochester, and it went through It did go through that northwest Rochester. So there were some high winds, gusty winds that did move through. Even though we didn't really see a severe thunderstorm or a strong thunderstorm, these storms have been packing a punch because they got organized, and you can see really gusty winds around I-35 and to the west in northern Iowa. So seeing these thunderstorms get a little bit more organized, but they are looking to be a little less strong storm-wise. They're just the winds. They're just packing a punch, so they're continuing to get warned because they're observing these wind speeds. So high wind speeds. Looks like Decorah. Look at that. Looks like the majority the rainfall might just miss you guys. Still could be some heavy rainfall, a little bit of heavy rainfall, and then some gusty winds, of course, in front of the storm. But the Decorah area looking like you might just get past. Looking more of a south-southeast movement with these storms. So, I mean, again, everybody's going to see some rainfall, though. Just a matter of if you're going to get strong storms or not, the severe storms or not. We're seeing a lot of rainfall across the area of Minnesota, and then we're starting to see the strong thunderstorms move through northern Iowa. Once these strong storms pass through northern Iowa, we're looking at continuing to see some rainfall. I mean, there's even more that's behind it. I mean, look at all these thunderstorms that are moving. Looks like they're moving this way, so towards the Mason City area, so looking to be south of I-90, where we see these thunderstorms. So something to continue to look at here as we go into the nighttime hours. Hail core is pretty much completely gone. We got a little tiny hail core about the same place. These hail cores have barely been moving. So right south of Floyd, west of Charles City. So maybe Charles City we'll see maybe a little bit of hail. Looking to be very small. It's pea-size hail. So small, very small hail. In these storms. High winds in Winona. All right, we'll take a look at Winona. We'll look at the thunderstorms. I don't think we'll see... Yeah, you're just getting kind of the gust of these thunderstorms. So some rainfall. You'll see some moderate, maybe at some point some heavy rainfall when we get to kind of this yellow and orange. But right now, majority of those real strong thunderstorms are going to stay south in northern Iowa. It's just going to get windy, and we'll see some rainfall. But thanks for that report in Winona. So just continuing to watch these thunderstorms. We'll see what National Weather Service has. I haven't really looked at the National Weather Service. So in Floyd County, they do have reporting trees down in rural Rockford. So that's been our latest report. Let's look at Des Moines. Nothing in Des Moines. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. So really our main issue right now is this line. It's going to be giving us some real gusty winds. If you're towards the Decorah area, between Decorah, Waterloo area, bring some gusty winds in there and some heavy rainfall. Still watching those storms off to our west, towards Worthington and Fairmont, Spencer, Iowa. We'll see what those do. Be interesting to see how they react to these thunderstorms that are impacting us, well, in northern Iowa now. Because a lot of that thunderstorm energy that we had is gone now because of these thunderstorms. So we'll see what the storms kind of behind us do later on tonight when they move through. I do expect them to die out a little bit here. Future track, even though Future track has been struggling, it does a good job of depicting, kind of give you a picture of what you can expect. So again, it's maybe an hour behind, but here's where it's bowing out. And then, I mean, it's basically that front line where we see, so we'll go back a little bit. It's going to be basically that front line where we have the dark reds, those purples. I mean, we'll have some moderate, maybe some heavy rainfall overnight tonight, but it'll be hard for that to get strong to severe because we had this initial line move through and suck up all that energy. So, take another look back at radar. Starting to see that line that's been giving us these gusty winds kind of shrink a little bit. It is starting to shrink. Decorah, you might get completely missed. Same with Cresco. You might get completely missed with the heavy rain. So once this moves out, once this initial line, so let's put this, stop this from moving and draw a little bit. Once this initial line gets out of our viewing area, I think we'll be pretty much done with this severe threat tonight. We'll continue to see some rainfall, could get a moderate to heavy rainfall in there, but it's gonna be very hard for storms to get strong to severe once again late tonight for like a second round. I do think that if any storms were to get strong to severe again, they would be south of I-90 in the northern Iowa area, because we have these thunderstorms to the west that I've been circling that are moving this way. So we'll be watching for these. Kind of more like that. So we'll be watching these thunderstorms later on tonight. It's been a couple scans. We'll look at hail. That's some good news there. Hail looks to be pretty much gone. Now small hail may be possible towards Charles City. Probably looking still at dime size hail now. So dime size hail towards Charles City. Radar indicated again, not confirmed. We haven't gotten any confirmation from what I can see through emails and stuff. So from last check, National Weather Service hasn't said anything about confirmed hail. So yeah, just kind of continuing to watch these move on through. Just this last warning, moving in towards the Charles, now getting a little bit past the Charles City. Charles City is probably seeing the brunt of it right now. We'll see Floyd County, or excuse me, Chickasaw County get some heavy rainfall here fairly soon. Decorah might miss out. It's kind of shrinking a little bit. So Decorah, you might luck out from the bad heavy rainfall and gusty, real gusty winds. However, like I mentioned before, everyone's going to see rainfall tonight. So you won't miss out on the rain. Let's see if I can find rainfall rates again. Rainfall rates have gone down a little bit, so where we're kind of seeing the heaviest of rain, just over 1.5 inches per hour, and that's just west of Saratoga in Iowa. Then we have some higher rainfall rates up in Goodhue County, Steele County, getting into Dodge, so some light rain across the area. But where we get kind of that heavier rainfall is looking to be towards the Goodhue County area. Let's look at Charles City, because you're seeing the brunt of it right now too. You're seeing some heavy rainfall. Let's go right into Charles City. Oh, almost 2 inches. We're getting to around 1.75 inches of rainfall per hour, so or inches per hour. So some pretty good rainfall happening there along this line. We'll keep this moving a little bit here and just kind of watching these thunderstorms move on through. If you're in Minnesota, if you're watching this from Minnesota, I think we're pretty much done with severe weather. As I'm watching, I've been talking about these storms to the west. I'm watching what this storm does towards Mankato, and you can watch it start to die out. So it has lightning, there's a lot of red in there, a lot of red and orange. As soon as it gets towards around I-35, that starts to begin to die out. So that's some good news there. I think we'll just continue to see some moderate rainfall tonight for Minnesota. Our severe threat now is in northern Iowa, getting into pretty much most of Iowa. It's in the northern portion of Iowa, all the way from west to east. We're seeing severe weather, and that's due to these high winds. So I want to take another look at this warning here. So 60-mile-per-hour winds expiring in about a half hour. We'll see this severe thunderstorm warning expire. We're just waiting, kind of just waiting for these thunderstorms to move on through. We're pretty much almost done. The storms have weakened a lot. This was warned for the 70-mile-per-hour winds. May have gone down just a little bit here. I think National Weather Service is still showing 70-mile-per-hour winds, so still warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Looks like there's another warning in Algona. So that's getting close to our viewing area here. It does clip a little bit of a portion of our viewing area. So let's get talking about that a little bit here. So Emmett, Humboldt, Kossuth, and Palo Alto counties until 1:15 in the morning, 60-mile-per-hour winds and less than 3/4 of an inch size hail. So small hail threat has dwindled down substantially tonight. Hail threat's pretty much gone. Gusty winds and heavy rain is going to be our threats for tonight, and I think most of them are going to stay south of I-90 now. So there might be a couple rounds that move through for areas in south of I-90, so northern Iowa. There could be a couple rounds that move through, but they're looking to be mostly just real gusty winds and some heavy rainfall. So I'll put this in motion one more time here. So here's what we're dealing with. Thunderstorms are starting to move in towards the northeastern portions of Iowa. Minnesota, pretty much done with some severe weather. We'll be watching these storms off to our west to see what they do. But I think most of them are going to stay south of I-90. And that's pretty much what I have for you today. We'll be ending the stream here. If we have any more strong to severe weather happening, you wake up to some loud thunder and you either have an alert on your phone and you want to see what's happening, we will be live here on KTTC. Just turn on the TV, turn on KTTC, or you can find us online on our website, and we'll be live from there doing weather cut-ins to keep you informed tonight through the late night hours. But that's all for this stream. We're gonna call it a night here on the Facebook live stream, but we'll be staying. I'll be staying here for most of the night until Ted comes in the morning, and then we'll have a little shift switch there. So we'll stay safe tonight. We'll have continuing updates for our severe storm possibility for tomorrow, along with the hot and humid conditions that we'll be having also for tomorrow. And well, technically today because it's past midnight, but we'll have more on that here later on tomorrow morning. Ted will have that, and then we'll be covering it throughout the day tomorrow. So stay safe out there. Get some good sleep here because we're getting late into the night. And have a good night, and we'll see you again later on.